Now let's go to the Australian Financial Review first, where Treasurer Josh Frydenberg has thrown his weight behind the adoption of net zero emissions by 2050, warning that unless Australia moves, sanctions by capital markets will increase. Borrowing costs affecting everything from home and business loans to major infrastructure investments. What do you make of this? I feel like this is the story that has been bubbling away in the background all week since the Prime Minister has left to go to the US for the Quad talks. We had Dave Sharma earlier in the week, Leisa, and now Frydenberg, who's probably, you know, the biggest dog on the Liberal Party block. What do you make of this?
Well, you would have to think, if you're looking at this from a media strategy, this is certainly trying to warm up the Australian audience to be prepared for what Scott Morrison will no doubt have international pressure put on him to make that commitment to net zero. Now, the language that he has repeatedly used around it is that he won't be pinned down to how he's going to do it. It's going to come down to technology, that there has to, economy has to come first. It has to be about protecting jobs. And look, we are months away from a federal election, so he knows he has to be very, very careful. It's a tightrope that he is walking, because he has people who have their employment reliant on the resource sector in this country watching this so closely. He has such pressure on him from the international community right now as he's in the US, you know, ahead of what's going to happen in Glasgow. So, look, he's in a very tough position, and I can just think that it's the media advisors now saying, look, we have to start, you know, softening up the Australian public for what's to come.
Do you think now that maybe the political watcher and maybe the House of Cards fan in me says to this, is this Frydenberg trying to stamp his mark as being a potential leader because he can make the big calls and stand by them?
Yeah, look, maybe he is. I think he and Peter Dutton are both potential leaders if you look at what their performance is like. But again, it will be all eyes on Scott Morrison, and you wouldn't want his job for quids, because he is in a really, really difficult position. And, you know, at the end of the day, you can have all of the lefties in the world and the greenies screaming for renewable energies, but at the end of the day, we need base-load power for them to turn their lights on, to charge their mobile phones that they want to hit Twitter on and abuse everybody on. So, you know, they have to have some reality. There has to be a reality check here. And at the end of the day, I know we always argue the point, but look at China. Look at all the international pressure that is on Australia to commit to this net zero by 2050. Where is that pressure on China?
Yeah, you make a very valid point. Also on the fin, spy chiefs join PM to promote AUKUS. All of Australia's spy chiefs are in Washington, joining Prime Minister Scott Morrison in a full-court press to entrench the new security partnership with the United States and the United Kingdom. This is a great little scoop by Chris Uhlmann and Matthew Cranston, who is with the President and the Prime Minister in Washington at the moment. Do you think this is a really good... I just think that this story so far has been nothing but good news to sort of restore an alliance of our traditional allies.
Yeah, I think it should be applauded. And Penny Wong was out there today trying to fire some pot shots, but I just think it's unnecessary. We need to align ourselves with the US and the UK. And look, yes, the French have got their noses out of joint because we've put an end to that $90 billion blowout on that nuclear submarine deal. Well, that started at $40 or $50 billion and then blew out to $90 billion. They can't have been surprised that this was going to end. They're going to get $400 million plus for the exit fee anyway. And look, I think Boris Johnson was spot on the money today when he said, very, very well in French, look, get a grip. They need to get over it. Yes, there are going to be some tensions there. Yes, the French are disappointed, but get a grip and move on. You know, Australia has to make decisions in our own national interest and put our security first.
Yeah, it's really interesting, the French posturing that has taken place. Like, obviously, they've recalled their ambassador from both Australia and the US, but yet they're still in the midst of trade discussions with the UK. So the other one stayed put. So it's quite interesting. And it's going to be fascinating to see when the three of these people sort of front the cameras, how that moves forward and moves the dial on this.